Austin Ammo Williams returned to the ring Saturday, March 15th, and he acquitted himself quite admirably, returning from a loss that he's had in his career, a tremendous setback, and he's proven that he is growing as a man and a fighter. He took on Patrice Volny from Canada, and it turned out to be just the perfect climate for Austin, because sometimes when fighters need to be tweaked, when they need to be readjusted, they can find themselves displaced. And with a little bit of assistance from a drill sergeant, he's been able to find his way. And I'm excited about what's next for Austin. Let's talk about it. Boxing is definitely the theater of the unexpected. And what was pleasantly unexpected was Austin Ammo Williams returned to the ring as he took on Patrice Volny. This was a fight that was arranged for Austin to get his feet wet in the sport and to climb from the serious defeat and setback that he had in June of 2024 when he last took on Hamza Shiraz. Austin met a fate in that fight that wasn't pleasant. He was stopped by Shiraz and probably hadn't invested as much as he may have needed to in that fight. And he found himself getting stopped in the 11th round, TKO. However, he did have a comeback fight in November against Gian Jarrito, and he stopped him in 5 rounds of a scheduled 8 to get back in the winning column. But it was his coach and trainer, mentor, Kevin Cunningham, that he attributed to his success. to his turnaround. And I totally agree. And when a young fighter like Austin Ammo Williams can accredit someone for getting him right, this was the first time that he had, according to his words, a real 10-week training camp. And to be able to focus in, it's very nice to see the investment in this young man has proven to be a successful quality as far as righting wrongs. One of the first things that he said in this victory, a unanimous decision that found him victorious over Patrice Volny, was he credited Coach Cunningham. That is admirable, especially after having witnessed what transpired in the co-main event, where his undercard predecessor, Edgar Berlanga, boasted and bragged about being a free agent, talking about calling out names of fighters that aren't necessarily interested in but makes no sense. And he gave off an aura that was totally cringe and disrespectful. But Williams, on the other hand, thank goodness it was his show. Thank goodness he was the main event, because he performed like someone who was not only ready for this night, but he was enthusiastic about it. He was a bundle of energy, bouncing around in his corner, shaking his gloves and his legs out, ready for the next round. Patrice Volny fought a good fight, but it was very reserved. And at the age of 35, he came into the sport, I think, in his mid-20s. But he can fight. It's a difference when a guy comes to the sport late and he has a lot to learn about the sport. Volny, with proper preparation and coaching, can upset some people, because one of his troubles in this particular match against Williams was he just wasn't busy enough. He did let his hands go, and when he did, he was very effective, but it wasn't sustainable. But this was not to be for him, because it was Williams' night. And at the age of 28, this southpaw fighter in Austin is very much a guy that can provide some excitement for the future. What I enjoyed most was what he spoke about when the fight was over, his ringside post-fight interview. I'm very impressed with people who are trying to make changes in their lives for the better. And this young man did exactly that, especially coming off of that loss to Shiraz. And there was something else about Volny. He sort of mirrored the dimensions of Hamza Shiraz, whom has moved now from middleweight up to super middleweight. So we may not be seeing a rematch between Austin and Hamza anytime soon. And that's okay, because now that there's a little more room and space to maneuver, I believe that Williams is on his way toward a title opportunity. He has good hand speed. He has decent strength and power. I've always thought about him, focus would be an issue, but he's now going to be a dad, and that could assist in his focus being reined in. And all he has to do is stick with Coach Cunningham, who had him ready. I was listening to the between round instructions coming from Cunningham. He was constantly reminding Williams of what to do, what not to do, but not giving too many instructions, but everything that was needed for the moment and for the next round. And Williams himself said that it was due to the coach reining him in, keeping him focused, reminding him constantly of certain aspects of their game plan that helped him get through and be successful in this endeavor. Nothing but respect for Austin Ammo Williams, and I hope that this young man has a great future ahead of him if he keeps his head on straight and can listen to his coach and trainers. And kudos to Ed Hearn and Matchroom for keeping this young man in the graces, because they could have easily just decided to walk away and say, you know, this kid may not have it or whatever, but he showed up and he showed out, and he was the headliner, and he gave a lot of credit to others. That's respect. So, as he now goes forward in his career, we could see that Austin Ammo Williams' record is now 18-1 with 12 KOs. And with that interim title that he was able to hold last night, he may get a title shot before the end of the year or sometime early next year. But I look forward to what this young man does in his career, and I wish him all the best. But what do you think? This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about the performance of Austin Ammo Williams, and what would you like to see for him next going forward. Leave comments and discuss. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.